popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Spoil it in your face.
That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
What a wonderful day. You all get another bonus review from Brandon Collins and Tatiana.
Ow.
That's right. And we're going to be breaking down Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So, folks, if you have not seen this movie yet, please be warned. We're going to spoil it. So, don't say we didn't warn you. Don't say that the theme song didn't tell you nothing. This is what we do. And we're going to give our thoughts and observations as we break down this movie, directed by Wes Bell, who is also going to be doing the live-action Legend of Zelda film for Nintendo within the next few years. Which, after seeing this visually, he can make that work. Well, this movie stars relatively unknown cast. You got Owen Teague doing the motion capture and the acting for Noah, our main protagonist. Then we have the one human, Freya Allen, who plays May/Nova. We'll get to that discrepancy in a second. Kevin Durant, who was recently in the movie Abigail, who plays Proxima Caesar. And then Peter Macon, who plays Raka. And then another human that is probably the most known person in the cast, which is William H. Macy.
Yeah.
Now, this is a follow-up to the fantastic Planet of the Apes reboot trilogy that started off with, I believe it's not Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. What's the first one?
Rise
of the Planet of the Apes, then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then the last one's War for the Planet of the Apes. And that's when we saw Caesar, unfortunately, die. And this movie opens with Caesar's funeral.
Yes.
And then it flash forwards. It says generations later, but in looking at the Wikipedia, apparently it's 300 years later.
Yeah, so by my own just mathematical calculations, based on what? Let me be a nerd.
Okay.
Based on the rate of decomposition and of the steel work and all the metals around you, it's definitely between 200 and 300 years. So,
yeah, and it's visually it's incredible. It's you see, this just world with very few humans, and it's overtaken by the apes, and Noah has his own little village, and
his clan,
yeah, and they basically they raise eagles.
Yes.
That's like
originally I thought they were falcons, but maybe I just don't know what an eagle looks like.
Yeah, they were eagles, and that's like a big rite of passage to collect like eagle eggs and stuff. And that's where we meet Noah and his best friends Anaya and Suna, who is a female chimp and potential love interest to Noah. They left it a little bit ambiguous at the end, but it's kind of hinted that there's something there.
I mean, he can't get with a human, so he has to get with somebody.
I did think there might be something going on between him and May towards the end, but then I was like, oh no, this is building up a different type of tension, and we'll get to that.
No, I mean, I think,
there could be a love triangle in the future.
May, no, not in the future. I think May was, by any means necessary this. So who knows if she needed to have some interspecies what is it
mingling or
coitus.
Yeah she I mean, technically we all started monkeys. No. We all evolved in regards to human evolution.
I mean, yes, but I don't think we evolved from monkeys. Didn't like the first the trilogy distinguish the difference between apes and monkeys and this and that?
I mean, I didn't rewatch all three of them before I got into this, and I honestly I don't think you have to. I think in legit, like compared to Denis Villeneuve saying you could just go into Dune Part 2 and not have any context, and you'll be able to.
That person is a liar.
Yeah, that was
because I did not see Dune Part 1, and I'm watching Dune Part 2. I mean, yes, right? Like, if you have a few brain cells, you can put them all together and figure out what's happening. Yeah. However, if you have zero context for, like, even like other references to movies, it is a bit hard to follow along with Dune, like part 2. So what I will say is with this one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, while no, you do not need to see it. Like, you do not need to see this reboot trilogy in order to understand this one. There are a few like little nuggets of knowledge that you do carry from that trilogy
Yep.
that kind of carry you through this, at least for me, through the movie. They don't hyper focus on those pieces of information from the trilogy into this one. But I do think as a viewer, it is one of those things where you're like, ooh, I wonder if, right?
Yeah. You pointed out a big characteristic of Noah that I actually didn't connect to the first one regarding his eye color.
Yeah, so in the trilogy, I think in the first one, maybe even the second one, but like they talked about, so the apes that are, all of the apes, in their own right get a little bit smarter, but it's not necessarily like all of the apes aren't impacted by this, vaccine that turns into an illness for humans, right?
Yeah.
So only some of them are. And the ones where the vaccine like alters their DNA, they wind up with this green ring in their eyes. And that's how they're able to determine who has like the genetic mutation from it versus just an ape that was taught sign language and is like now learning how to speak because all of the apes around them are also speaking.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, like the different dynamics. Like they're still doing sign language, and then also they will speak in English, and then some are just very primitive still. Like they're just kind of grunting and stuff like that. And hey, everybody, that's our family cat Luna making an appearance on the podcast as we break this down. And so we meet Noah as he and his friends are collecting their respective eagle eggs to bring back to their village, and they encounter a human who's kind of like shuffling in the woods, and took Noah's blanket. They chase after the human, but they've gone down through this tunnel, which I guess leads to the forbidden area. Something like that.
Yeah, what they call like the valley. So essentially this tunnel, right, would lead into the outside world. So this particular tribe or clan of apes have decided to seclude themselves. So they're a very passive tribe. And so they are kind of like in like a valley because they are raising eagles.
Yes. Yep.
So
very high. Like they have very high towers.
Yeah, and so it does read very like what we would call primitive for them, which I actually was taken aback because I was like, wait a minute, if this is like 200 to 300 years in the future, have they not advanced? Like, how have the apes stayed stagnant from when we last left them with Caesar?
Yep.
Sorry, I was just like trying to be like Caesar. Anyways, and because those apes were like learning how to use guns and all of this stuff. So what we don't get a lot of context for is, which is, very much like fill in the blank, is how all of these sort of tribes splinter off or why they splinter off. If they even splintered off or were these apes just figuring out on their own away from Caesar?
Yep.
But oddly enough, they, in some form or fashion, this primitive, this eagle training tribe knows nothing about Caesar. Yet they speak English and they speak in sign language.
Yep.
But they know nothing about Caesar. And the other tribes that they encounter do. And they are like perverting and bastardizing Caesar's words.
Yeah, like Proximus Caesar, he basically uses the knowledge that he gets from William H. Macy's human character, who's essentially taught him about like Roman history and read him Kurt Vonnegut books, I guess.
Vonnegut?
That's what I meant. things like that. And so he's just like manipulating the masses, with the "what a beautiful day, y'all serve Caesar as my slaves, I praise Caesar, I live the life of Caesar, so therefore you're praising me." It's very crazy, but
it's not crazy because it happens,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But it is also interpretation, right? Because we also don't know how William H. Macy is teaching it. Because the one thing the apes have not gotten is actually reading, which I found super interesting.
yeah.
So some tribes are even like dedicating to saving books, but even their information on Caesar and kind of like the world that happened before is also not very accurate. So they are, like very peaceful people, more like we could like maybe call them monks or something to that effect. And they are essentially like tasked with passing down the teachings of Caesar and the history of like the apes, right? And how they got to be in the position they are. And he's basically saying like, oh, back in the day, like apes and humans used to work side by side. Okay, so there's the primitive group that their elders have not taught them anything about their history, right? So they just moved how they decided to move with their traditions and teachings, and those are actually nothing about Caesar. They don't even know about other, like they call humans echoes.
Yep.
So even like the language is different. The very sort of like peaceful monk type, we don't meet a bunch of them. We only meet one of them, where they're charged with like protecting books and teaching
Raka.
others. Raka, yeah.
Who's did you get a vibe that the monkey, the ape that got killed might have been their lover? When they were like, he was my family. Well, he burned the body of.
He said he was my tribe or something like that.
Like the body
clan.
of a monkey that was killed by this very aggressive Proximus Caesar group.
Gang.
I just got a hint like that might have been.
Well, homosexuality in the animal kingdom is a thing.
No,
right?
it's just interesting. Like I'm like,
especially actually amongst apes, like more with like female apes than anything else. But yeah.
Yeah, and then Rocco was like my favorite character just because he was the bridge between the previous trilogy and this one in regards to kind of trying, like you said, kind of like telling, about Caesar's story, but then also still it's a little skewed because it's history and it's been hundreds of years.
Exactly. And so there are, I think there are like the nicer versions of like, this is how things happen and everything was awesome, when then you're really like,
because he's like, Caesar, was all about like apes don't kill apes, and I'm like, well, clearly you didn't see Dawn of the Dead, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, not Dawn of the Dead. That's a whole other thing. Because he had to kill Koba and a few other apes to, not make things right because it went off the rails, but.
Well, I mean, his teachings are also very much like humans were always stupid. Like they were like a little bit smarter than when they are now in this time period, but like humans were given opportunities because of apes, and we know that to not be true.
Yep.
So, and then with Proximus Caesar and his gang of hooligans. And like
they all live in like some crazy rusted ass ships and stuff. That was crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
visually
like, awesome.
I was like, granted, I know that they're apes, but like none of them, pass down some medical history. Do apes not have to worry about tetanus? Like there was so much metal and rust in this movie. I was like,
hey,
itching.
I imagine the immune systems were just tip top shape at this point because you have some of the humans that were just dirty and primitive, and they're drinking from soil water that zebras are going in and out of and stuff like that.
You do what you gotta do. There was very much like and we learn too with the humans, there's also a bit of this regression, right? There are humans who stay in a collective and keep this knowledge and move forward, and they have access to knowledge and technology that clearly cease to exist for some humans, because we see some humans running around in packs like animals.
Yep.
And they are also very primitive. And so that is something that they don't talk. And so that's how the apes describe them. Like, they're stupid. They don't even talk. Like, they don't know. And so those are also like
they're scavengers and stuff.
but those are effects of the virus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So for some, you know how like some apes, they have like the mutation and they're just like, you know, intelligent. And then other ones are just learning, but they're still, and some of them are still primitive where they're just making the grunting noises and following along. Those are the humans that were affected by the virus. And so they're just Neanderthaling along. I don't know what else to call it, because I assume that's what they are doing.
Yep. And so we, you know, they encounter, well, they don't encounter the human, but the human follows them back to their tribe. And later that night,
well, this human is set up from the very beginning to being like I don't know if she's sent there to spy on them. I don't know if she just...
We never fully got the full context on...
But by the end of the movie, I'm fully convinced that she was deliberately looking for an ape ally to help her with her mission.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so this tribe was one that she was kind of like leeching off of secretly, because they were talking about how they would have like missing blankets here and there, and like certain things would be broken and nobody could explain it. But this bitch comes in and she fucks up
Yeah, I mean,
Noah's life.
Yeah, I mean, because she first breaks his egg because she was hiding in his tent.
No, she steals his blanket while he's getting the egg and then bleeds all over it.
Yeah. No, but I meant when he's back at the village.
When he's back in the village, she's trying to steal fish, and then she breaks his egg.
That's right. And then he goes back out because like they're having the tribunal the next day with like this eagle egg ceremony, and his father is the head nigga in charge. So it's like, I have to have an egg, otherwise like
he has to wait till the next season.
He has to wait till the next season, but also it's kind of like dishonorable in a way.
Well,
like he'll be letting his dad down.
I don't think that it's dishonorable, because one of the things they establish while they're looking for these eagle eggs is that he's the oldest, and because he's the oldest, he has to set the example. So I think he's the oldest of his generation, and so this is their rite of passage. And as the oldest, it would be weird for him not to be included.
Yeah, and his friends are like, "We'll wait for you. We'll wait with you." And I was like, "Oh, also little cute apes. That was so cute." They were all excited when they were showing back up. Anyway,
I mean, one of the things like the digital like overlay, I don't even know what to call it. I know it's special effects, but like
Weta.
It's like so, but it's like so hard to even call it special effects, because it's like, am I not looking at fucking real apes? Like,
yeah, I mean, the actor Owen Teague who played Noah, his eyes, his expression of his eye, like in his eyes, are incredible. Like, I felt from Noah. I liked Noah from the very beginning, and he was going through it in this movie, and you could tell like by the end of the movie, he's like exhausted and battle worn, but like you're hoping he's gonna be okay, because he goes through a lot.
It's just so much, right? For even like, so when their village gets burned down, they have like the ash falling on, and it looks like snowflakes on his fur.
Incredible.
Wait, do apes have fur or do they have hair?
That call in, folks. Leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/mediapopcorn. Let us know if apes have fur or hair.
Because like we have hair, so I mean, I guess fur, human, whatever.
I guess I have so much hair, you could call it fur in a way. But the reason why the village gets burned down is because when Noah goes out to try to retrieve her egg, he runs into the Proximus Caesar's gang that are essentially trying to hunt this one specific human, because they encounter other humans, but they specifically are looking for May.
Well, we don't know her name yet.
Yeah, when Raka and Noah encounter her, they call her Nova, because Raka's like, I call all the humans Nova. I don't know.
He's like, they're stupid, they're smelly.
Yeah, she probably smelled to high heaven.
You know, so it's interesting, right? So there's a lot that happens to Noah. So we're really just on this journey with Noah, And it is very symbolic because he was supposed to have his coming of age ceremony the morning that his village is burnt down. And so his new coming of age ceremony is this he's trying to look for his tribe, his clan.
Yeah, because they all got captured and taken
And
away.
so he's also going beyond the valley. He's learning about books. He's learning about Caesar. He encounters a telescope and looks in it for the first time and clearly sees the fucking stars. Like, he's so intrigued by this. He's seeing artwork with humans. You know, he's just seeing so much going beyond the valley in his world that I think he's now like, everything I was taught, while traditional, is a bit of a lie. And so he just knows too much now, I think, for his tribe. But he still has the naivety, which gets him in trouble, like, in the end as well. Like, this isn't like a very happy-go-lucky, like, we all, you know, hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah, this is a lot darker than I thought it would be, which is funny because War of the Planet of the Apes is a pretty dark conclusion to that initial trilogy. Because, you know, even though he meets Raka, it's a little, I won't even say lighthearted, but it gives you like a moment to breathe and break the tension a little bit. Because Raka's a great character, like just between the acting performance by Peter Mackin, the engagement between him, Noah, and May. Well, eventually we learn her name is May. Like, I just really enjoyed those scenes.
Yeah.
And so that's what's even more heartbreaking when, you know, eventually, because she's essentially following Noah and Raka as Noah's like trying to find his tribe. And Raka's like, I feel like this is a sign that I should go with you. Like, because initially he's like, hey, stay with me and I'll teach you more about Caesar and our history.
Yeah. But also, you know, we're going to call her Nova.
Yeah.
All right. Like, Nova, you know, so Noah is kind of afraid of humans. He calls them echoes, right? So he's like really not trying to fuck with her. He's like keeping her at a distance. And then Raka is the one who brings a little bit of perception and very much the olive branch of being like, she's slow and stupid and we have to give her a blanket because the humans get cold. Like, you know, they're very primitive. And so it's because of Raka that actually the human Nova gets to get into this proximity with Noah.
Yep.
But we, at the time, we don't know that Proximus Caesar's gang is actually looking for her. They make it seem like they're just collecting clans and tribes and whatnot to help them build their like slavery system.
Yeah, because we learned that they're essentially trying to open this door.
Yeah.
In this compound that they have by the beach, by
Yeah.
the water. And so they're rounding up Apes, but when you learn that they're specifically going after her is when they encounter the other humans at like this water body of water with the zebras, and essentially they are chased down by Proximus Caesar's right hand man, who's this big fucking ape who beat, you know, Noah's dad to death basically. So Noah already has a beef with this dude.
He's
And
a gorilla.
Yeah, and he's specifically going after Nova in this chase. And so that's why I was like, okay, so there's something about her clearly. Mind you, this whole time Nova's pretending like she don't speak nothing, that she's a mute, or that she's intelligible. She can't speak. And then we found that not only can she speak, she's like fucking literally like a motherfucker. She can talk. She can probably read really well.
Oh yeah,
Like,
she played the part. She was out on a mission, and so she had to, you know, she had to play the stupid human so that she can get in the good graces of a couple of apes, because in order for her to get to her destination, she needed to be part of an ape something or another. She wasn't going to be able to
have allies.
Yeah, you know, and also she can't fight them. She had no weapons. She's not strong enough. She's literally by herself, you know, so it's super manipulative and not very different than modern age, but
yeah, and Noah's already shown himself to be resourceful between fixing like the the stuff at the camp and in his village to also he repairs the taser kind of thing weapon that they have.
Yeah.
So she's like observing like, oh, he's a smart, like he's really smart and inventive. And actually, Proximus Caesar's even like, hey, I heard that you're really smart, so I could use you on my team. I mean, which is probably what kept him alive, because they could have just killed him real quick and just kept the girl.
I mean, but I think that, you know, any good leader, human or ape, knows who to keep alive, right? And this is assuming that the apes don't know about the different colored eyes and the theory behind that.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Yeah. Because there's so many apes that are there, but he pretty much singles out Noah of being like, I heard that you are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Mm-hmm. And also, Proximus Caesar's gang has also been with them. So I'm sure they noted his resourcefulness and anything else of that nature.
For sure. I mean, so Raqqa, the sad part that happens with Raqqa is that they are going down this bridge, going across this bridge, because they're still tracking Noah's family. And they get ambushed, and unfortunately, Raqqa, in saving Nova.
Well, now we know that she's May.
Yeah, now her name is May. He saves her and essentially sacrifices himself and goes along with this fucking rough ass current to save her.
I still think he's alive.
I hope he's alive.
He's somewhere down the river.
I was hoping he was going to show up at the end. He didn't, but I'm hoping in the sequel he'll pop up again, because he's a really great character, but. It also makes it tragic. He was an orangutan.
I mean, I don't know how orangutans swim, and the river was, very well. You know, it was pretty violent. But I mean, he's a big ape.
I know. Hopefully, he made it. Hopefully, we'll see him pop up in the sequel.
But I will say, somewhere in this journey, when Nova turns into May, she also finds a Kylie lip kit, because all of a sudden, her lips are popping. Like, overdrawn. I'm like, this is supposed to be 300 years after the whole Caesar takeover. Where the fuck did she find lip gloss?
I don't. Okay. I wasn't really looking at her lips.
She had lip gloss. She had freaking wispy eyelashes with, like, mascara. And
maybe it's supposed to show a transition between Nova and May.
I mean, maybe, but also...
I mean, she did take a bath when she got to William H. Macy's.
No, this is before they got to the rusty ship.
Oh, okay.
But I will say that actually took me out, because the rest of her body is filthy. Even when she's rolling in the fucking river like she's in a laundry, she came out filthy still. Okay. So there's like one thing that really like took me out of the whole thing was like her overdrawn lips and her lip gloss. And I was like, why the fuck did they put lip gloss on this girl? She's traveling with two apes. She could be chapped-lipped. It's okay.
Okay, well, they are Nova and Noah. Well, May and Noah at this point. They're taken back to Proximus Caesar's huge ass compound, which again, the visuals in this movie were fucking incredible. I'm so excited to see what Wes Ball does with the Legends of Zelda and just those different worlds in that story. And Noah is reunited with his friends and family, but they're all prisoners now, including like his best friend Anaya, who is now a servant to Proximus Caesar, and Shooketh. Like they clearly probably were beating on him, and he's all like out of it. And basically, May convinces Noah to help her destroy the stuff that's inside the compound that, you know, Proximus Caesar wants to get inside so badly, because supposedly it has technology that could, you know, change the life of apes forever.
Well, yeah, you know, ultimately, when the virus was taking over, the government has these sort of stockpiles everywhere with like books and seeds and how to rebuild society, right? But you need like the code to get in. And he doesn't have the code, and he wants to learn and be smarter, and he has his human William H. Macy because William H. Macy is teaching him things. And so you really find out the reason why he's looking for May is because essentially he's going to have to replace William H. Macy at some point. He's getting old, you know, and so he's thinking, like 2 humans are better than 1, but also May is proven to be smarter than most of the humans that he has, come into contact with. So with all of that being said, there is a moment of, wow, damn, this plan actually does make sense when you put it all together. And I'm not mad at it.
I mean, yes, and I also, because he pulls out that document. So going back to, because we don't have the context yet as an audience, so she was given a map that takes her to this compound. So he's like, you clearly know about this thing, so you must know how to get into it. And we later find out that she specifically was going there. At first we think, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, at first we think it's about the guns, because no one has guns in this world. The biggest weapon you have is a taser.
Well, yeah, eventually they would have run out of bullets or something if they don't have access, or they don't, that made sense.
Yeah.
So actually, Proximus Caesar's trying to get in because he knows they have, like, this compound has a lot of things, including weapons. That is understood. It's also the U.S. government. Like, come on, right? But I think what it is so May is basically has lied this whole time to not just
Can't trust the white woman in the post-apocalyptic world, y'all.
to Noah and Raka, who she basically said, like, her people have died, which isn't a lie. They did die, but she was sent there. They were going there on a mission. And so basically she refuses to help them get in, but she says that she doesn't know how to get in.
Yes.
She claims she has no idea how to get in. So obviously, like man and ape, they're trying brute force from the outside.
Yeah, that was gnarly when they try to blow it up, and then the whips or the chains that the apes were trying to pull the door open. They all got fucking basically not decapitated, but ripped to shreds with those chains. That was fucking gnarly.
Which, for me, I was like, okay, so let's give this a 300-year jump. Are these doors going to easily open?
No, those are that's reinforced. Like,
and I was like, and because it's on like an ocean side, so he has to, like, he's done incredibly well so far. He's built a wall to keep the water away, so it's not hitting on this. So in my head, I'm like, this is the part where I don't know where, science and logic really can take place, is because even if he had just found this compound, or the apes found this compound 300 years prior, like, with metal, don't you need joints? Don't the joints get rusted? Don't you need oil? Like, I'm just thinking a little like Tin Man here, like, they're by the beach, so that means it's humid and there's water and it's salt, and like, eventually wouldn't this door have gotten rusted to even a little bit? I have like all of those questions but I understand he's an ape and he doesn't know. So I'm like, oh, so he would have been going at that door forever and they still wouldn't have been able to crack it open. No. But May is very manipulative, and she tugs on Noah's heartstrings and to get him to side with her, and then also loop in the other apes from his
Naya and
clan to help them, because they need a climb and she can't do that shit by herself.
Yep.
So she knows how to get in. She knows how to turn the things on. And that's when you, as a viewer, really are like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and they also, Noah and his friends also get a hint, because she just leaves them. She's like, I'll be right back. And she disappears.
Well, no, she's actually very, very direct. She goes, stay here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they kind of look at each other like, what? All of a sudden, she's like very commanding. Her presence is like, I know what I came here for. Like, y'all are good. And so she's like, stay here. They wind up going into a classroom.
Yep. Yeah, and they find a children's book. That one like has ABCs. And the reason why she had lured him, one of the things that she had said was in this compound or vault or whatever, was that there's a book that could change things for humans.
Or teach them how to speak again.
Yeah. And so he's like, wow, there's a book that could do that. And so you and I both, like, we didn't talk about it during the movie, but we both thought, like, oh, it's the Bible.
Yeah,
Probably.
I mean, I think every other movie you've seen,
It's like the Book of Eli, where it's...
Yeah, but I mean, that was her cover, so I thought she was going to try. But I was like, wait. Initially, I did think it was the Bible because of, obviously humans. But a big part of me was very much like, that's clearly a cover because at this point, Noah has seen books.
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
like, like there's literally nothing, like you can use a book to teach someone how to read. It doesn't have to be the Bible. It could have been an encyclopedia. It could have been a fucking phone book. It could, it doesn't matter, right? It still has letters and words. And as long as somebody knows how to put those sounds together, like it'll teach someone to read. So I think for him, he was very much like from an earlier moment when he realizes that books exist and that each letter is a symbol and that you would like learn to read them. I think he was intrigued by the fact that like, oh, maybe I can also get this to help the apes learn how to read. Because now he knows. And so now that he knows that there's more out there, he is just a little more like inquisitive. That makes a lot of sense. But he's still, like we mentioned, he's still very naive. So he's showing his friends the picture books, and they have animals in a zoo, in cages, and they kind of just like look at each other like oh, because this is the tribe that has no idea about what life was like previously.
And it also contradicts what Raka said, which is man and ape live together, side
by side. And so now, and then that happens to be when May comes back and she's like, let's go. Like, it's like very direct, never like, hey, is there anything you want to take? Or, just there's so much in this space that it would be a learning moment for these apes. And she's like, no, I came what I needed to get. Time to go. But Homeskillet knows how to turn on every fucking switch. The lights still work.
Yep.
I was like, come on, how does this work? How is this happening?
Yeah, and we saw her look at like some type of technology, like a hard drive or something, and you're like, okay. And then they get to the door. By the way, there's tanks and stuff in this compound. There's a bunch of weapons in this thing.
But what's interesting to me is it looks like at some point, people live there because the classroom has artwork and like things hanging, but you don't see any like skeletons or you don't see any remnants of humans. But the entry point in which they came in is a little rusted and broken. So I'm like, did the humans have to escape? Were they getting cabin fever? Because there's like graffiti in some of the stairwells and stuff like that. So I'm just like, so people knew this existed, or did the apes kind of get in and then the apes graffitied? So there is a little bit of a disconnect for me of what happened to this place, because if it was intended to be uninhabited until like another sort of like army brigade came in or whatnot, that would make sense. But like we said, there's, furniture is out of the way. Like it just looked like it had been lived in and then people just dipped. So there's that, which maybe in the sequel we'll get an explanation, but I think that's interesting because why did they dip? And then the reason why that sparks that thought is because May eventually winds up in the end with those like whatever computer piece that she's taken.
And she is at another compound.
At another clearly military compound where they're clearly still worried about the virus because they're wearing masks and like whole hazmat suits. And they don't even let her come in. Like they just take the computer piece and they take it inside and she's still outside.
Yep. So
I'm just sitting here like there's a whole, like not to say like the military piece wouldn't continue on and these people wouldn't, like pass that information on. But I'm just like, where were those people that were supposed to be on the cliffside?
Yeah, je ne sais. But I mean, the technology is revealed to be used to access the satellites so that the humans can start communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting the things that like start building up to what the potentially next story is. But May opens the compound. Before she does so, she tells Noah, she's like, hey, like when I open this door, be sure to alert your tribe so they can get the fuck out of Dodge, because they also planted explosives around the perimeter
Of the wall.
because she wants to flood the compound, basically.
Yeah, because I mean, she's right when she's like,
Proximus can't get a hold
like
of this
he
stuff.
cannot get a hold of any of this stuff. But it's also self-serving because she doesn't want any of the apes to get a hold of any of that information. And
How do you think
apparently
he knew?
apes are terrible swimmers. So
Yeah, they are. How do you think he knew, though? Because William H. Macy catches them planting the explosives, and that's what I should have known that something extra was going on with May, because she kills that nigga. She chokes the life out of him. So
you didn't. I peeped that so early.
The way
'cause
she did that was very,
She
like-
jumped on him like a spider monkey
Yeah.
and then fucking choked him out.
they really did hint that like May is duplicitous several times. Yeah, I should have picked that up.
I mean, here's the thing is, there's a really interesting scene with Proximus, May, William H. Macy, and Noah. And at this point, May learns why she's there. Why they've been hunting her in particular, not killing her, which is like they want her to teach Proximus the things, and also they know that she has information on how to get into this military compound. William H. Macy is like, get with the program. Like, this is a good life. You'll get to live long as you just sort of like
Play the game.
play the game. So, and then Noah's there just like observing this. And then that's where Proximus sort of like approaches Noah with like, you're smart, you could be useful to me. And also like, you can't trust humans. And that is a huge learning moment for Noah. He's like, wherever there are two humans that can speak around, you shouldn't trust them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was Proximus being like, I'm choosing ape. I'm choosing to trust ape because, you my kind, but I
Even though I
won't,
enslaved.
but I won't hesitate to fuck you up.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You
Proximus
know.
gets busy at the end after Noah's destroyed everything.
I think because he mentioned that, I think he always had an eye on William H. Macy, but he probably had more of like a detail on him because May was now in the picture and he didn't trust two humans together either.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how
Even though he put them together, though, that's interesting.
well, because how else you
How else do you make May feel safe so she reveals the shit that you want her to tell you?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they open a door and May immediately, like, because Proximus Caesar's there with Noah's mom and the rest of the tribe. He's like, why'd you do this, man? Why'd you,
He'd be like, it be your own kind.
And then that's when May's just like looks at Noah. She's like, I'm sorry, and then blows the shit up while they're all there, basically being like, all y'all gonna die.
No, she has a gun.
Oh
So-
yeah,
so
she
swipes a gun.
Yeah.
She shoots an ape.
That was about to kill Suna.
Yes. But the whole point is she grabbed a gun.
Yep.
She kills an ape without
Didn't tell
blinking an
nobody.
eye. And then when they're all like, oh shit, what was that? Because it's been 300 years, so they don't know what the fuck a gun is. She was like, gotta go blow some shit up. And as she does that, he's like, wait, because he wants to get his tribe out.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't wait. Like, she doesn't even say like, I'm so sorry.
Nope.
No, like she doesn't even bat an eye. And then she blows the shit up and then runs up the stairs. She doesn't even try and grab a few of them.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
She's like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Yeah, she's watching all of them like start drowning and flooding the compound. Noah gets his tribe, to climb as high as they can, and because they fortunately came through the back way, they know how to get out. So they're leading their tribe through. Meanwhile, the big gorilla that's been that killed Noah's dad, he's in hot pursuit of Noah. They have this confrontation, but ultimately the gorilla ends up drowning. Which it wasn't the physical confrontation I was hoping for, but at the same time, you're like, no, I ain't gonna be able to do nothing against this ape. He couldn't even fight Proximus Caesar at the end because Proximus was getting all the licks in.
Well, I mean, I think it's hard at this point to understand because remember, he comes from a passive tribe.
That's right, yeah.
But then he's learning about the teachings of Caesar, where Caesar says,
Ape doesn't kill
ape doesn't kill ape. And technically, Noah hasn't killed another ape. Like, they've been in situations, and he's just kind of, like, let it happen.
Yeah,
but
he didn't have to save the gorilla.
Yeah, but, like, by his own hand, he's not beating them to death. He's not stabbing them. Yep. He's not electrocuting them. You know, so it is... I think he's trying to process the Caesar teachings he has learned so far on this journey.
Yeah. And luckily, he gets his tribe, as much of his tribe, including his mom and his best friends, to safety. Proximus is like, what the fuck did you do? Starts beating the shit out of him. Basically, he's going to kill him. And he's like, I'm going to make you bend to me in front of your people before I kill you. And then... this brings a full circle moment with between Noah and his father's eagle, where essentially there's this song that I guess like kind of commands the eagles, and Noah's been hesitant to sing because he's like, I'm not worthy. Like I let my tribe down, I let my father down. Like because Raka at one point is like, oh, I would love to hear this song because you got this eagle following you too. Like there's something about you that's special.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not special. Like I don't deserve. Like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, he's very like, oh, gee golly.
Yeah, that's why I said like the emotion, like just the way that Noah comes off, it's very beautiful. It's like for something that's like just all visual effects, it really like tug at my heartstrings a few times because I'm like, I really feel for this guy. I don't know how old he's supposed to be. I imagine maybe late teens, early 20s in human years, but I loved his journey in this. And when he finally starts singing the song, the tribe is inspired by this. They also start singing the song. Proximus is like, the fuck y'all doing? Shut the fuck up. And then the eagle starts sniping at him, and he's like, uh-oh. Like, his eyes got real wide.
Because Proximus didn't do the dirty work. He sent his gang out. So these people are just snatching up these apes, not knowing where they're coming from or, like what makes them different.
He just been seeing these eagles flying around, but, like, they wouldn't come to the compound.
They wouldn't come to the compound. And so finally... when Noah, feels inspired and finally takes command, his dad's eagle essentially is like, I got you.
Yep.
Right. And so because of that, because the dad was the leader, then the other eagles are like, bet we got you too. Yep. Right. So there is something about like that was like a nice heartwarming like moment. But I would say that it's weird. And while I don't agree with Proximus and this sort of like method of going, we're expecting logic from apes that like have only been in power for like 300 years, right? Or let's say 350, right? Because we got to, consider Caesar's time. And I'm like, we humans can't even get our shit together. And we've been in power for thousands of years, right? So, like, having this, like, oh, my gosh, the apes shouldn't, is, like, wild to me. And that's kind of where, like, May, who is, obviously, like, team human.
Yeah, she's team human for real.
Like, she's about that life. And, like, yes, I can't, like, you can't be mad at that. But also, it's almost like the way she's coming at the apes is like very odd to me of like, well, I have to do what I have to do.
She's like, we were here first.
Like we were here first.
We were running shit.
Yeah, she's like, before the virus, it was all about us. And so when Noah's trying to like level with her being like, but like, what would you have now? Cause that's not the case. And she's like, don't worry, like we come back. Like it was like obviously she's not saying any of those words, but that's the sentiment behind, that's the energy she's bringing, and I'm like,
which is wild because like I initially was like, yo, if he ever sees her again, it should be on sight. And she had her gun; she was hiding her gun behind her back, so she was ready for that to pop off. I mean,
would you not, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready?
Of course,
she's a human. She's like one of the few of her kind, and she just betrayed a whole bunch of apes
several times.
Of course, you can be like, well, this group was real passive, and hopefully they'll let me go. But in case they don't, I'm gonna fire off a few shots.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if like this dynamic carries on through the next two movies, because this is the first of a new planned trilogy, probably to wrap up this whole thing. And so it'd be interesting to see if they're the two that constantly are like going head to head, with this like battling of the world and different philosophies.
And they're both young enough where, you could see like older versions of them.
Yep.
I do think the end game is that apes and humans do have to work side by side. That's the only way
destroy each other.
I mean, it's the only way it's going to work. Like,
But
you get a real resolution.
Was there a Planet of the Apes where they go to space?
That was the one with Mark Wahlberg.
No, but I think in the originals, there's some space element. Folks,
Like the original.
yeah, leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/mediapopcorn. Let me know if I'm correct in this, because to look at the stars and stuff, I'm wondering, are they eventually going to get to a point where they develop technology where they get the fuck off planet Earth?
Well,
Or they're like, this ain't it.
But that's what Proximus was telling Noah. He was like, did you know that the humans
could fly?
Fly like eagles.
Exactly.
And he was,
I love that. I love that whole dialogue.
Like Proximus, while you may not agree with what Proximus is doing to the other apes, it actually is understandable in relation to humans, of being like, we know that there are humans out there who are still a danger to us. And it is, they are very much still a part of that animal kingdom now, probably more than ever, because a lot of the humans have regressed quite a bit. So there's literally the biggest divide is these like super primitive, like mute humans who just, are a bunch of prey, right? And these super smart humans who essentially have evaded the virus, so either they are immune to it or they've also had to like evolve in some sense. And that's what Proximus is talking about, like evolution. Like, what is the next step for us in this?
Yeah, I mean, at one point, this is what's going to be interesting too, to see Noah's journey over the next two movies as well, because he's like, Proximus was right.
Yeah, Proximus was. He was.
And he gives May the Caesar necklace that he got from Raka. The kind of one reminder, you wouldn't have gotten here where you at without Raka, who believed in Caesar's philosophy, which is that we could work together.
Because Noah wasn't trying to fuck with her.
Yeah.
He was like, leave her, let her fucking go. I don't care.
He's like, sit with that. Sit with that. And so I think you're right. There might be like an evolution of like their different approaches and stuff, where I can see no one going full bad by the third one. Like being like, fuck all y'all, I'm gonna kill everybody. But I'm going ahead. Like it is very interesting how they're setting up this new trilogy, and there's a lot of tension at the end. And I think it's setting up a really interesting story and conversation, about these two different conflicting parties. And it's a little reflective of, society these days. But I'm very interested in seeing where they go, and the graphics. I mean, my God, there's no excuse, Marvel, that some of your shit recently look crappy compared. Like, this is fantastic, and the budget was like apparently 150 mil, which is still a lot, but it's for those kind of graphics where it's pretty much from start to finish, visual effects, phenomenal. But before I get ahead of my personal movie review, rating, Tatiana, Media Popcorn, we rate movies on bags of popcorn and scales, small, medium, large, XL for the exceptional. If a movie does not deserve a fresh bag of popcorn, we put it into the stale popcorn pile, where we pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So we watched The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Wes Bell and starring a bunch of unknown actors, Owen Teague, Kevin Durant, Peter Macon, and human actors such as William H. Macy and Freya Allen. What say you?
I say one. I don't know this to be certain, but I think that man's last name is Macon.
Oh, that might be. Yeah,
it could be Macon. I don't know.
I know. I'm trying to make it all fancy, but yeah, it could be Macon.
He might be from Georgia.
Yeah, it's Macon. Yeah, that's Macon, the M instead of a B for bacon. Yeah, I get that.
No, but this definitely gets a large. It kept me entertained. It had me thinking. Actually, it genuinely had me thinking. I'm a little bit of a nerd that way, though. Like,
You're a nerd because you like to think.
no, not like that, right? I started thinking about like the rate at which like steel and iron like decompose and rust and all that stuff, and like how many apes actually exist in the world in comparison to humans.
Yeah.
You know, like is that a battle we would actually lose? I don't know. You know, so that's the type of thought I was in during this movie. It makes me actually pretty excited for the sequels. I'm assuming it's another trilogy, right? But I could totally see it being Star Wars, you know, where there's like the first trilogy, the second trilogy, and the third. The special effects are amazing.
Absolutely.
Like, why? Like, so absurdly good. Like, you could tell the difference between apes even, and just like subtle details of like freckles and eye color.
Yes, yeah.
It's like so clear, like the sizes of their ears, the dirt in their nails. It's just wild, and that team deserves all the accolades and awards, and if they don't, they need to create new fucking categories for them, because it is beautiful. Like, even when it rains, and you see it like pilling up, and like when it gets it's like I cannot speak more highly of the special effects in this movie.
Yep.
And I know that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of people. And then the actors, you know, knowing that they gotta actually act out this movie with cameras and dots all over them, and it's amazing.
Yeah, they show some footage right before the screening with like the actors in the mocap just to show us how they do it, and I was like, I'm already all in. And for me, that's why I'm giving this actually an XL. This is my favorite movie of the year so far.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this. It's beautiful, beautifully acted. Shout out to Owen Teague again. Like Kevin Durant as Proxima Caesar was great. William H. Macy was a little weird. I wonder if there was some stuff of his character that was on the cutting room floor. It wasn't as quite fleshed out as I would have liked it. And Freya Allen, there were some moments where I was like, okay, sure. But the duplicitous nature of her character, May, very, very interesting to see where that character goes over the next two movies. And I just, everything came together, and I'm so excited to see what Wes Ball does with the Legend of Zelda movie. Josh Friedman, who's the writer, he also is doing the Fantastic Four movie, as well as Avatar 4, apparently.
Why do we
so
need
many
another one of those?
but it's 20th Century Fox. They keep it all in the family. And this is a great continuation of the trilogy, one of my favorite trilogies of the past few years.
Same. As far as like reboots are concerned, or remakes, whatever we're calling this, like these like Planet of the Apes ones have definitely been super intriguing, the take that it's on, and even like generations. My godkids who are 11 and 13 are really into it, and so hopefully it's something that we can continue watching with them, and getting them into just like these really wonderful cinematic adventures.
Yeah, in regards to the series right now, the ranking, it's still Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Like, that movie's a fucking masterpiece. It's such a good movie. This is right under that, though. This is like, in regards to the 4 movies we've seen, this is
I can see that.
really, really good. But folks, that's our take on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Let us know on social medias, or again, voicemail speakpipe.com/media and popcorn. Let us know what you thought of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But yeah, Tatiana, how can people follow you if they wish to do so on social media?
Thanks for listening, guys. Please follow me on @Boricua on Instagram.
All right. And then, folks, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on all social media platforms, particularly Instagram and Threads. That's where I'm at most days. And then you can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on those same social media platforms. Be sure to go to youtube.com/Medium Popcorn and push that subscribe button so you get alert about celebrity interviews and other reviews that we have on there. And if you feel so inclined to support the show, check out Patreon at patreon.com/Medium Popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 tiers to get hundreds and hundreds of hours of bonus content. And if you just want to try it out, just sign up for the $2 tier free trial for 7 days, see if you like it, and then just continue from there. But if money's tight, we understand that. Just leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We will read it on the show. Or you can leave us a voicemail. Again, speakpipe.com/Medium Popcorn. Thank you, as always, for listening, and thank you, Tatiana, for helping me do this bonus episode.
I love doing it. Bye.
What a wonderful day.
Medium popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me. And Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get